Good evening. It's Sunday night, June 26th, time for the HideNet Sunday Night Week in Review, and I'm Vera Dordick sitting in for Don Osman again this week, who should be back with us next week. This week we're going to start with Europe, and it won't be any surprise, thanks to Brexit. That's the big news from Europe, and all the concern about what's going to happen to the markets in general, and particularly the hide and leather markets. Andrea Guolo writes about that and says that some of the most serious consequences could be for British tanners who'll have to pay more for their hides, including domestic hides. But then they'll gain some of that back with their finished leathers being exported. But how that pans out still has yet to be seen. Before Brexit, in Europe, it was a relatively stable week, even for cows. When veal skins, though, there was some increase thanks to the revival of some luxury leather goods for a few brands and has caused some more activity. Andrea also went to the ASAMAC meeting last week on Lake Garda about the machinery for footwear and leather goods production and gives us a wonderful report on the statistics on how that part of the industry is doing. So you'll want to check that out. Next, we're going to go to Latin America, where David Holtz tells us that the market is very decidedly still flat. Brexit and the effects probably won't appear too much there initially, but tanners in some areas are already closing on Fridays so that they don't have to let employees go because business is slow. Things are winding down for the summer and there's just not a lot of demand in general. In Brazil, prices are about $1.20 for TR1, maybe even a few cents less. And in Paraguay, TR1 is still trading at $1.25 to $1.28 per square foot. And speaking of other countries in South America, it's also relatively quiet and steady with very little change. Moving on to the U.S., Texas steers bumped up 50 cents to $1 again this week. Also, butt-branded steers were up $1. Other steers were firm, and plump cows were mostly steady, heifers mixed, and Holsteins were barely steady. Going back to heavy Texas steers, they were selling at $74 at the top and some at $73.50, but we're not moving any higher. In fact, rawhide sales this week were down 12%, and wet blue sales were also down, just about 6% off from last week, but about 13% down from the previous 4-week average. That is pretty much the roundup for this week, and we hope you'll join us again next week for next Sunday night's Week in Review, hopefully back with Don. Thank you, and good night.